separate thing here. I just want to establish a quorum. Again, I apologize since this is a separate meeting. Who's on the phone?
Donations.
Dale, Frank Thorwald,
Stephen Cooper,
Bill Robin.
We have a quorum. This public hearing is in session. If you can state your name and who you're with and so forth.
Yeah, my name is Scott Bowles. I'm with Triomphe Energy, and I'm over site development. And
do you have anything you want to say about what you're have asked us to do?
Yeah, we're proposing that the spacing exception be applied to our Triomphe 1 well. After we had drilled the well down to about 4,500 feet, our primary objective was oil.
Mr. Bowles, I need to interrupt you for 2 seconds. I do apologize. I have two separate hearings. One is a reclassification of a well at 10, and then a spacing notice at 10:30. The 10 o'clock, is it for well spacing or for reclassification?
Reclassification.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to confirm that. Thank
So
you.
we just speak on that.
Reclassification. Okay. After drilling that well and testing it, the primary objective was oil, and we did find oil down deep, and it was not economical. But further testing in that well bore, we did find potential for gas, and it was analyzed, and we determined that we wanted to acquire seismic data. So that has led us to this point to where we'd like to have the Triomphe 1 shut in with the intention of drilling these additional wells of the Cobalt Group that will provide the control that we need, the data that we need to help us understand the potential of the Triomphe 1 well.
Dennis Turner, our administrator, you've looked at this. What is your
Okay, so a little background. Triomphe Energy drilled this well in 2012. It was originally, the objective was oil.
could you speak up? I'm sure the person on the other phone's probably...
Lisa, can you hear me okay? Maybe not. Lisa, Tess, can you hear me okay? Dale, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
She may be on mute.
Whatever. All right, to start over again. Triomphe Energy drilled this well in 2012. Originally, objective was for oil. It did not get a public hearing for a well spacing exception. It would be my recommendation, which is on the agenda as such, that both a well spacing exception be approved and a reclassification be approved. And the reason for the reclassification request is that Triomphe Energy, drilling that well, discovered there was potential for, I guess it was helium in this well, correct? When the original objective was just oil, and that was what the commission originally understood was approving. So it's primarily a reclassification for this well, but with the pattern we've been following with other operators and needing well spacing exceptions, that's part of the agenda that needs to be discussed. They've submitted the adequate information to justify that and for it to be approved. And that's the basic background for Triomphe Energy. So it's reclassification and well spacing. Reclassification is a special subsection in the rule 107E4. 107E in general talks about well spacing. Reclassification is 107E4.
Is there any discussion, questions from the commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple questions for our administrator.
Yes.
Dennis, we previously had a matter before us a couple meetings ago where we had a similar situation. This is not that well. Is this a different one? We had a presentation.
The board made an approval for this well to be shut in for a period of we can't remember if we gave it a year or 5 years, but that was in, I think, July or something. July or maybe it was September 14th.
Okay. So this
it wasn't a hearing, it was just a regular shut-in type.
But I do recall in prior meetings that we had a discussion with someone that drilled for oil well and that they wanted to then basically change the use of it to helium, and I just want to make sure historically how we got to this point in the road. So this is really the same well we've been talking about since July.
No, it's a different well, but it's the same pattern that we're following, which is the well had already been drilled. We had a hearing to grant them the spacing exception they needed for gas, and that is essentially what's happened here. Triumph drilled this well in 2012, and it didn't meet the setback requirements for an oil well. It was outside of those requirements, so we're kind of retroactively giving them well spacing approval or exception after the fact. But it also needs to be reclassified because they were pleasantly surprised to find they have helium in the well.
Commissioner Cooper, that was a different company and, at the time.
Yeah, it was a different company.
Yeah, and really that was what I was getting to, is I just wanted to make sure that whatever recommendation is coming here today, that's consistent with what we've done in the past.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my question.
I have a question or two.
Commissioner Farber.
So what we're talking about is reclassification for the well that was drilled in 2012. And you mentioned acquiring additional seismic data and wanting to drill additional holes. But we're not talking about those holes at this minute. The subject of our conversation right now is just that one well. Am I correct?
That's correct.
The hearing to follow this one will be about those wells he was alluding to.
Those additional. Okay,
Right.
great. I just want to be sure I know what I'm voting on.
This one is only with regard to
The one
reclassification and the one.
The one hole. Okay.
Dale, any questions or comments?
No, I'm satisfied with this. I don't know if we need a motion to do. Would we need two motions or only one that could cover both?
Right. The
requests?
only thing we need at this moment is a motion to approve the change.
I move to approve Triomphe Energy's request to reclassify
Let's see if
the
there's
number one
public
well
comment. Is there public comment on
from
this
an
first?
oil and gas category to gas category.
That's not listed.
No, I didn't see anything there.
It's on the second page. Are you looking for, it's on the screen.
My question is basically, because this is a hearing, I just didn't know if there was if we had to take public comment before we took any action.
Be my understanding we should, yeah.
Okay, and that's,
So, Dale, if you
I would, on my motion.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on this?
Well, I'd just like to say I fully support the concept.
Please state your name.
My name is James Ballard, and I just want to say, as a citizen, I fully support the opening potentially of a new helium-producing area, and I think the Commission should do everything in its power to enable them to proceed.
Is there anyone on the phone that wants to make comment? Hearing no public comment, Dale, if you want to make that motion, go ahead.
Yeah. I move to approve Triomphe Energy's request to reclassify its number one well from oil to gas category.
I second that motion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. The motion, anybody abstains, the motion carries.
We need a second motion then for well spacing.
Have they already had well spacing on this one?
I didn't hear him say well spacing in there.
No, we didn't say anything about well spacing. This
We
was
want
just
two motions then.
Yeah.
No, this is
This is only for reclassification.
only reclassification.
The agenda talks about reclassifications, well spacing exception on the screen.
Really?
I didn't know if you want to make two separate motions. I mean, if we're going to be consistent with
Okay.
how we did it with other.
That's appropriate notice.
Yes,
You can have it should be a second motion or a discussion at least.
we need to have a discussion first on spacing.
Mr. Bowles, what's the basis for the well spacing? Just a quick description of why you need the well spacing.
Because it was the primary objective was an oil well, and after testing the well, we discovered gas. There's more of an opportunity for gas, so for that reason, we need to reclassify that.
You just have this.
That was regarding the
Or excuse me,
reclassification.
with the exception, yeah, to the well spacing, yeah.
Dennis, any input?
No, just my understanding, if we're going to be consistent, we have to give them two things.
Okay, so
Just after the fact, you know.
I've got questions, just to be sure we're all clear. So without this exception to well spacing, what would be the well spacing following our...
Well, I have to look those numbers up now. I don't have them in front of me if you need to know what that is, but I don't think they met the minimum setbacks for an oil well.
If you look at R127107 spacing
Well,
wells,
330 feet is the setback number. I think they were like 2 something was one of the setback numbers.
So it should be 330 by...
Yeah, 330 by 330 setback from the section lines
that's for oil.
for oil.
Could we revisit that? Because when we had it surveyed, we wanted to make sure that we met those setback requirements, and I believe we did. Yeah.
So let's go back to
Well, then we don't need a well
R127107.
spacing exception.
R127107 spacing of wells. 2. No well drilled for oil shall be located closer than 330 feet to any boundary of the drilling unit or closer than 330 feet to the shorter center line of the drilling unit. So that is for oil. You've now been reclassified to gas. So gas
1660.
is under, let me read it, R127107B. No well drilled for gas shall be located closer than 1,660 feet from any boundary of the drilling unit, and that is the basis of this well spacing exception because of the reclassification. Is that correct, Dennis?
So that's the more important point, yeah. But
Okay.
I may have remembered incorrectly. I thought your setback in oil wasn't even getting the minimum, but nevertheless, you want it to be a gas, you need a well spacing exception. The way the rule is written, it's just an extra hoop. But
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes, Commissioner.
This well is going to be deepened to test lower Paleozoic rocks, the Devonian and the Pennsylvanian.
no, not this well. I don't think
Does the effect of reclassification, how does this classification affect potential for production of oil in those deeper potential reservoirs?
you don't tend to deepen this well.
No, we do not intend to deepen this well. Dr. Nations, yeah,
I misunderstood that. Okay, so I'm clear.
Okay.
Okay, so I have questions.
Commissioner Farbright.
Okay, so we've got this one well that we're reclassifying to gas, and with that reclassification, then the spacing that the regulations require is 1,660 feet. But you need a spacing exception for that well because you don't meet those requirements. Is that correct?
Yes, we met the requirements for an oil well,
Well.
but now that we're focused on gas,
Yeah.
we don't meet that.
Okay. So is this and then we've also talked about you drilling additional holes. Are we going to talk about the additional holes at this time, or is that a separate issue?
Next hearing.
That's the next.
Next hearing,
Yeah.
okay. So the only thing we're talking about right now is that one hole that's drilled
Right.
to TD right now, and we're just sort of making it fit
Right.
the regulations.
Right.
Perfect,
Yeah.
thank you, I'm clear.
Bill, if I could ask one favor, you use the terms TD.
Total depth.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry. Okay. It's geo talk.
TD used to be that a word for the Cardinals, but
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Is there any other questions? Okay. Is there anyone that wants to make comment on this from the public? Anybody on the phone that wishes to make any comment? Hearing none, do we have a motion?
I'll do it if nobody else wants to.
You're so good at it, Dale.
I move to approve Triomphe Energy's request for spacing exception of their number one well.
I second that motion. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion carries. You have your spacing exception.
Thank you.
This first hearing is concluded.